The views and opinions expressed on Unlock Your Wealth Radio are those of the host, guests, and callers only and are not necessarily the views of Unlock Your Wealth Radio, Heather Wagenhals, or Success Publishing International.
More willpower than a barefoot woman at a shoe sale. Able to stretch a single paycheck for an entire month. Makes money concepts easier than third-grade math. Introducing your purveyor of prosperity, Heather Wagenhals.
Work all day, stress all night. Take your mind off your money, focus on your life. Money don't matter or the stuff it bought. It's the way you think, not what you've got, yeah.
Unlock Your Wealth Radio starts now.
Get your money mind right.
Welcome to the show, everyone. I am so excited to be here. We have an incredible show planned for you today. I'm Heather Wagenhals. Thanks so much for joining us on Unlock Your Wealth Radio, where you go to get your money mind right. And today's key is going to be take action, make assessment. So we are officially on track for financial freedom, and we are in week 2. We also have this week's moolah word of the day, and it's about stuff, and I like that. So we are going to enjoy this week's word of the day. Minutes on your money, we are going to talk about the best places for you to save some of that moolah. As we go forward in our Keys to Riches financial wellness series, we will talk about where to save money in tiered savings plans. And for one of those tiers, we are going to talk about today on Minutes on Your Money. Also, our trivia question this week is going to be on last week's show. So regular listeners, never fear. You have one leg up on the competition if you happen to listen last week. So it's on acceptance and affirmation. We started our keys over last week for this new season, our Sexy and 17 edition of our 17th season on the internet. I'm so excited about that, as well as this new Libsyn platform. Today's guest, I cannot believe we have such a superstar, but yes, of course we do, just for you. Small business rock star turned political whistleblower. We got Michael Daugherty, author of The Devil Inside the Beltway, joining us today. This week, he is on the cover of Publishers Weekly, and you are going to flip your cookies when you hear his story. Let me just tell you, because I flip my cookies, and this is something that you need to know. All entrepreneurs and small business owners need to listen to this interview, because you were just going to be shocked at what Uncle Sam has done to this poor man. But he's fighting back, because he is not going to go down without a fight. And so let's listen to his story coming up later on in the show. And as well, we also have an update from our Unlock Your Wealth protege, Lauren Rumpler, country music sensation. And she has also got some really great songs coming up for a tribute to Ayn Rand, who you all, or if you're regular listeners, know that I just love and adore Ayn Rand and Atlas Shrugged and the Objectivist movement. And so she's got some really cool songs coming out. So maybe she'll share some of those with us on air. Wouldn't that be cool? Okay, so for you guys, as always, we will talk about your money, your credit, and how to get ahead in any economy. We will also show you how to manage your money easier, saving time and reducing stress, using these proven techniques for you to create unlimited wealth and happiness, all in a tight little package of 60 minutes. Now, if you haven't started listening from our app, we have launched our Insiders Club app on the Libsyn platform. So if you just go over to the directory at Libsyn and look for Unlock Your Wealth, you will find us. We will pop up. Hi, we're here. And in addition to our regular free episodes, we have fabulous bonus content for Insiders Club members. And for those of you who are Insiders Club members, you are automatically entered to win in our weekly giveaways. But if you are not a member and would like to compete for great money management tools and fabulous prizes like Michael's book, all you have to do is answer this week's trivia question. This week's trivia question is, last week we talked about how to get started. Okay, so let me start over. So last week we talked about our first key in our Keys to Riches financial wellness series, which apparently I'm still on that mode, acceptance and affirmation. And when we talked about affirming our success and our wealth, we have given you a specific technique in which to do that, okay? And it was the blank P's for affirmation success. The blank P's for affirmation success. And I'm saying blank because you, in order to win, need to fill that blank in. You can win one of three ways. You can call in to win at 1-866-966-9420. That's 1-866-966-9420. Or you can hop in the chat room where I'm live and you can pop over and say, hi, I'm here, and come visit me. And you can share your potential right answer, and hopefully you will win fabulous prizes. And for those of you listening on podcast, just because you're not listening live doesn't mean you don't get a chance to play too, because all you have to do is email us your potential right answer at trivia@uywradio.com. That's trivia@uywradio.com. So again, our question is, how many P's are in the affirmation process? Good luck to you all. So now it's time to switch to minutes on your money. And I mentioned that we talk about a tiered savings plan when we get into our keys to riches in later keys. And so this week's minutes on your money, and I'm going to thank my friends at CNN Money for helping me out. Who can assist up? Because we're going to talk about some savings accounts. Now, we don't want to invest for our future in a savings account, but we do need to stay liquid for emergency purposes. And where can you keep your moolah liquid and get some really high rates? And so it's a good thing that interest rates are wanting to go up. Everybody's fretting about this, but I'm telling you, the best period in our history is that when mortgage rates were 8.5% to 9%, because savings rates were really high too. But let's take a look at some of these savings rates that have some of the highest yields that are FDIC insured, which means that the federal government is protecting your money if this bank goes bad. And so here from bankrate.com, they did an analysis of some of these top banks. So Palladian Private Bank Online Savings has a 1% annual percentage yield. There are some requirements, a minimum $10,000 deposit, but you will still get 1% interest. Barclay Online Savings, just under 1%. GE Capital also at 0.9%. Sallie Mae Money Markets, there's no minimum balance and no monthly fees. So even though its APY, which is your annual percentage yield, is only 0.9, which is less than 1%, because you're not getting whacked excessive fees, your actual return is that amount, that 0.9%. So that's a cool deal. Now, American Express has a high yield savings account, 0.85. Again, no minimum balance, no monthly fees. And you should take a look around at some of your local banks and credit unions, because you might even be able to get a better deal. And while checking accounts generally pay much lower interest because money is moving in and out quite a bit, a new company has created a checking account brand called Kasasa. And that's available at many community banks and credit unions, and it pays interest up to 4% on its accounts. So that's a pretty cool deal. Also, the Pelican State Credit Union's Kasasa Cash account also pays 4.01, so a little bit bigger bump, as long as you are making 15 transactions a month and have a direct deposit. So it's pretty cool. Surf over to bankrate.com if you want to get more info on this savings account rating analysis and get your emergency fund in place today. That's it for Minutes on Your Money. Coming up shortly, we have Michael Daugherty, the Moolah Word of the Day, and so much more. You are listening to Unlock Your Wealth Radio, and I am Heather Wagenhals, saying stay tuned for more right after this.
Commander Marty Logan here from the Top Gun Seminars. What I've learned over the years is that the most successful people in life have coaches to guide them along their chosen path. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, Tony Stewart, Tom Hopkins, Kathy Colby all had coaches. Whether it was their father, someone else's father, or another person who helped them to shape their desires into an achievable path to success with a system of accountability where quitting was the only way to fail. Each of these people had someone who didn't see them as they first were, but as the person inside they knew they could easily become. Financial coaching can be the single addition you need to become financially independent. Call the Unlock Your Wealth Foundation now for your free consultation. 1-866-966-9420. That toll-free number again is 1-866-966-9420. Or visit us on the web at www.unlockyourwealth.com.
I'm Heather Wagenhals. Too much month left over at the end of the money? Tired of paying off debt again like a slave? Then tune in to my 1-minute update on Fort Myers Beach Radio for your morning cup of money motivation. And for more tips, visit crackingyourmoneycode.com.
Looking to take your game to the next level? Maybe you're restless and not sure what to do next in your life? If networking to elevate yourself, looking for inspiration, or being somewhere in between relaxing and making it happen, then the Women of Change Cruise, January 23rd to 28th, is for you. Join a team of elite women who will take your game to the next level or help you find your game while surrounding yourself with welcoming, accepting women who will affirm, motivate, and inspire you to live your best life starting now. Space is limited. Surf over now and be a part of women just like you who refuse to settle for less and are looking to get more out of this lifetime.
The Women of Change phenomenon. Leave your own mark on the world.
For more information about the Women of Change cruise and upcoming events, please visit our website at womenofchange.org.
Greenback is your neighborhood lender for auto title loans. We offer fast and easy cash title loans for cars, trucks, and motorcycles. Keep your car with title loans from $100 to $50,000. There are no year or mileage limits at Greenback, and we offer the cheapest rates in Arizona, guaranteed. For more information, visit greenbacktitleloans.com or call 480-926-6666.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. You are listening to Unlock Your Wealth Radio, and I am your maven of moolah, Heather Wagenhals. And it is perfect timing because it is our moolah word of the day right now. This week's moolah word of the day, current assets. I like this word of the day. It is a balance sheet item which equals the sum of cash and cash equivalents, accounts receivable, inventory, marketable securities, prepaid expenses, and other assets that could be converted to cash in less than 1 year. And so that's how, I guess, you define what liquid assets are, is if it can be liquidated in less than 1 year. So from a business perspective, a company's creditors will often be interested in how much that company has in current assets, since these assets can be easily liquidated in case the company goes bankrupt. In addition, current assets are important to most companies as a source of funds for day-to-day operations. And that's the same thing for you as an individual. So all the items that you own that can be liquidated in a year or less, so that would be, cash, some stocks, bonds, if they're not like in retirement programs, jewelry, pieces of art, things like that you can liquidate in less than a year, count as your current assets. So isn't that so super cool? So that's your moolah word of the day. And I cannot wait any longer to bring on our rock star guest today. I'm so excited. I am so thrilled that he decided to be a part of this show. Michael Daugherty. He is president and CEO of LabMD. It's an Atlanta-based clinical and anatomic medical laboratory with a national client base. LabMD specializes in analysis and diagnosis of blood, urine, and tissue specimens for cancers, microorganisms, and tumor markers. He founded LabMD in 1996 after 14 years in surgical device sales with U.S. Surgical Corp and Mentor Corporation. What's interesting about him and why he's on here today is because he has become the source of a significant amount of controversy, and he's been picked on by the federal government. And it really stresses me out that we take so much courage and strength to decide to become entrepreneurs. And America is driven by small business. Do not be fooled that big business runs this company. Just look around locally and see how many big businesses you have and how many little businesses you have. And this man took a risk, and you would think that you would be supported by the federal government because you're employing people and you're generating and contributing taxes and all that good stuff to the economy. And then, lo and behold, the snake comes out from under the burlap sack to bite you in the back of the ankles when you least expect it. So I want this to be well known. Michael Daugherty's right now, this week, he's on the cover of Publishers Weekly, and his book, The Devil Inside the Beltway, is really an eye-opener. So let's have a conversation with Michael, shall we? Michael, it's so good to have you on the show.
It's great to be here, Heather. Thanks for having me.
So you must just be totally overwhelmed. You're on the cover now of Publishers Weekly, and you have been singled out, it seems, by the government, and they're just being relentless, and you're their whipping boy now. And I wanted to bring your story to our listeners because we're working to better our lives, and we're working to get independent of government subsidies and government controls. And we think that by taking charge of our own lives financially and taking charge of our careers and possibly becoming an entrepreneur, and then we assume all of that risk, we get going, and then all of a sudden something crazy happens, like your story. And I would love for you to share it. How did you get started in the company? Let's talk about the history of your company briefly. How did you get started going?
Well, I was a surgical sales rep for years. I worked in the operating room selling medical devices for a long time, and plastic surgery and urology and general surgery. And my background is economics. I'm a Michigan grad. And I was in that world of sales and surgical sales. And so I had an idea as an entrepreneur in this niche market that I worked at that I could do a really great job listening to these urologists about how to better offer prostate cancer testing services. And because I had such intimate relationships with them and knew them so long, really I just listened to my market, and they were very unfiltered with me. So that helped me build a niche company that really could offer them services no one else could. So that was the start of the company, and it worked out really well. We were just a niche player, and I just wanted to be small, boutique, and high quality in prostate cancer detection. And that's how we launched LabMD.
And it's a phenomenal thing too, because we hear so much about breast cancer awareness, and it's now our month in October for breast cancer stuff. And I was watching all the lights and all of the signs and everything going up, and men aren't really good about going and taking care of themselves, getting to the doctor, because they're busy taking care of their families or their businesses. So I think it's a great place to be, and we count on the men in our lives to be there for us. And what a great idea, and a great, like almost untapped, because people just do not pay attention to prostate cancer. So
no, men are immortal. We think we're immortal, and we think we're immune, and so we're terrible patients. Even the physicians are terrible patients. But we focused on communication and making it very easy for the physician to order, and taking all these. We just remove the hassle index. And then we have really good physicians that have a lot of experience in diagnosing. The pathologists have much more experience in diagnosing this type of cancer. So those are the two big differentiators. And we've been going since about 2000.
So you've got your groove on. So you've made it past that initial entrepreneur phase where you could potentially fail, and you've grown your business. And so you've been around for 13 years. And when did you start having challenges?
Within the situation with the Federal Trade Commission, it was a surreal. I mean, I sit here on the radio show about this, which is so surreal because it started in 2008, and it was the phone rang, and it was a gentleman from a company called Tyversa, and he said he had downloaded one of our files from a peer-to-peer network. And that they did security. Security intelligence. Would we like to hire them to make sure that couldn't happen again, and make sure that it isn't anywhere out in cyberspace. And that was a really scary phone call. It was out of the blue, just like a movie. And we immediately jumped on the football of where is it, where could it be? We examined everything. We found one software program unauthorized on a manager's workstation. And this was in the billing side. This was not in the medical side. And so the first stage was just fixing it, remediating it. And the next stage was, is it out there? Did it leak out? And we looked all over, and we could not find any evidence, and we still to this day have found no evidence that it's out in cyberspace. So he didn't tell us, he wouldn't give us information that we wanted unless we hired him for a services agreement. This is very frustrating. And then his lawyer called us later in 2008 and said he was giving our file over to the federal government because it was private health information and personal health information, patient health information, and that he didn't want to get sued. So that was like very surreal and like, go ahead. And then 2009 was quiet. We looked all over for any evidence still, never found any, still haven't. And then 2010, the Federal Trade Commission came knocking on our door.
Okay, so you didn't know that you had one of your employees listening to whatever free music on the internet.
Correct.
And they were able to somehow go through the billing side of your company and get onto the patient information side of your company to pull a file. And did you, since you couldn't find evidence that it got out, was it an actual patient of yours?
Yeah, what it was is actually, it's even more teenier than that. What the software does, and we assume this is what happened, but because there's no evidence anything else. But this software, LimeWire, was on there to listen to music, and there was a file. All that does is allow the folder that holds those files of music to be shared. They can't penetrate firewalls. They can't penetrate the whole workstation. They can't even look outside that folder. So this is coming into one folder on one hard drive of one computer in one company. And there were 900 files in there. And of the 900 files, only one had patient information. And that could be read. There were 30 that had patient information that couldn't be read. So we had one. And the whole issue was how to get there, because it was against company policy to have it. And even though she evidently knowingly was listening to music against company policy, there's no way that she would put patient information at risk, ever. And so, and if she knew she could do it through that, I'm sure she wouldn't have been listening to it. But this was such an unusual one-off bizarre situation. So that's how she got it, or that's how they got it, just coming into that, because that software allowed people to come look for that folder. So
when you got this phone call, you said you were feeling surreal, like you couldn't believe this was happening. Did you even know what Tyversa was, or had you ever heard of them before?
No, we went to their website, and it was pretty nondescript. It was pretty.
So was that their tactic to fish for customers by pretending, or like looking to see if they could breach a company?
I think their website alluded to something like, do you know where, if your files are out in cyberspace, we do. So they do have they do sell a greater knowledge skill, and their promotion is, we'll look to see what's out there. But we did, I'm like, okay, well, what are you calling me for? And these wouldn't give us any information. The real tension came from, you won't tell us anything unless we hire you. That we're not okay with that right now. What is going on? Who are you?
Yeah, it seems like somebody's trying to blackmail you. Like, hi, I stole these files off your network.
I can say right now, but
right. Well, I can say it because I'm not involved in your case.
All right, we will just let the information stand on its own.
There we go. So I watched you speak at the Atlas Society poker tournament in New Hampshire. That's where you and I had the opportunity to meet. And to give people an idea of the size of Tyversa, because they, you hear the name, but then you're like, okay, so you go do your homework and you see who they are. But give us the contrast. You gave a statistic about the number of searches, and you compared it to.
Actually, that was his testimony in front of Congress.
Oh, okay.
On the video, he was in front of oversight in 2007. As I learned through my research of who are these people, was that he testified that they, I think at that point, did 300. It was like 1.5 billion searches a day they do, and they were comparing themselves to Google. But they have said that they are 3 to 8 times more searches than Google per day. They were just using a comparison to show how unique they were in their ability to ascertain if files that are not supposed to be out in quote-unquote cyberspace are out. I'm not necessarily against that type of intelligence, but I am against, that type of intrusion into a workstation. I mean, I don't think it's quite clear how it's done with the descriptions he was giving. And since I wasn't told anything, I had to go off on my own investigation. And I wanted just to go away. I mean, he went away. We knew our patients were fine. We had cancer to detect. We just wanted to be left alone. Mm-hmm. We felt, we just worried about ourselves. We found no evidence that the patients were out there. We knew we were totally shut down. That lawnmower application was gone. And we wanted to move on. They wouldn't leave it alone. And then when they said they're doing it to the feds, and the feds called us in 2010, that's when the second episode started and things really blew up.
And that's what I find so provocative, because you thought, well, gosh, if it was quiet for a year, that things have probably been handled. And after the break, I want to delve into some of the other challenges that you've been experiencing and why you have chosen to write this incredible book that you have and stand up for small business. You are listening to Michael Daugherty on Unlock Your Wealth Radio with Heather Wagenhals, and we'll be right back with more coming up after this.
Commander Marty Logan here from the Top Gun Seminars. What I've learned over the years is that the most successful people in life have coaches to guide them along their chosen path. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, Tony Stewart, Tom Hopkins, Kathy Colby all had coaches. Whether it was their father, someone else's father, or another person who helped them to shape their desires into an achievable path to success with a system of accountability where quitting was the only way to fail. Each of these people had someone who didn't see them as they first were, but as the person inside they knew they could easily become. Financial coaching can be the single addition you need to become financially independent. Call the Unlock Your Wealth Foundation now for your free consultation. 1-866-966-9420. That toll-free number again is 1-866-966-9420. Or visit us on the web at www.unlockyourwealth.com.
I'm Heather Wagenhals. Too much month left over at the end of the money? Tired of paying off debt again like a slave? Then tune in to my 1-minute update on Fort Myers Beach Radio for your morning cup of money motivation. And for more tips, visit crackingyourmoneycode.com.
Looking to take your game to the next level? Maybe you're restless and not sure what to do next in your life? If networking to elevate yourself, looking for inspiration, or being somewhere in between relaxing and making it happen, then the Women of Change Cruise, January 23rd to 28th, is for you. Join a team of elite women who will take your game to the next level or help you find your game while surrounding yourself with welcoming, accepting women who will affirm, motivate, and inspire you to live your best life starting now. Space is limited. Surf over now and be a part of women just like you who refuse to settle for less and are looking to get more out of this lifetime.
The Women of Change phenomenon. Leave your own mark on the world.
For more information about the Women of Change cruise and upcoming events, please visit our website at womenofchange.org.
Greenback is your neighborhood lender for auto title loans. We offer fast and easy cash title loans for cars, trucks, and motorcycles. Keep your car with title loans from $100 to $50,000. There are no year or mileage limits at Greenback, and we offer the cheapest rates in Arizona, guaranteed. For more information, visit greenbacktitleloans.com or call 480-926-6666.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. You are listening to Unlock Your Wealth Radio, and I am your purveyor of prosperity, Heather Wagenhals. and I'm so excited to be joined with Michael Daugherty, author of The Devil Inside The Beltway. And we were talking before the break, Michael, about what happened and how you thought it was going to go away with this little government intrusion. Well, this Tyversa intrusion that was quote unquote turned over to the government. And now you are sitting here and you're face to face with the FTC.
Yeah, so, we every time I had the thought that maybe this was over, I knew I was jinxing the cosmos because that's when they would call. And sure enough, right after Christmas, in January 2010, they sent a letter. And this was just, I try to find humor in everything. So,
did it say Happy New Year?
No, it didn't. It was a phone call that said, this is the Federal Trade Commission. We have got a file, and we would love to talk to you about it. We will be starting a non-public inquiry. You'll receive a letter tomorrow. And then what shows up, 11 pages, single-spaced. So, I'm like, wow. And so... but I write in the book how back then I was just so naive. I believed in the process, and that's why I was just so stunned by the behavior from this point on, because they're like, okay, we're a science company, and we're scientists and medical people and people that work assisting scientists and medical people. And so we're very used to facts, and we get along great with the inspectors from the feds, because they're also scientists. And there's not this adversarial out to get you feel. So we were kind of vulnerable and naive, and I was like, well, they're just doing their job, and that should be important, and we will fully cooperate, and we just, dump trucked everything on them. Their questions were so broad, we just sent them almost $5,000 worth of documents. Now, you have to imagine, for a company with under 40 employees, this is an incredible amount of work and very expensive, and here come the lawyers. And that means out come the checkbook. And that all that work, then on the one hand, it's so important, and on the other hand, they're so slow. So 2 months later, they call to discuss it, and they're disappointed. They're upset. They say we didn't answer the question, and that we didn't send it the right way. And and at that point, that was when trust first started to erode. And I'm
surprised you had any to begin with.
Well, what can you say? I now have learned to say I love my country and I don't like my government. So, but back then, you have to experience these things to really take it in. But anyway, so at that point, I wanted everything in writing that they wanted, even though that might meant the lawyer was going to ask bigger questions, because at least it was in writing, and we wouldn't get lost in the he said, she said. Mm-hmm. And we had several more submissions, and by the summer of 2010, they wanted us to fly to Washington, D.C. Of course, they don't pay for that ticket. And so my vice president, myself, my lawyer went up there. And that was when the light bulb went off in my head, because I felt like we were on an episode of CSI.
Yeah.
I felt like they were holding their cards very close to their chest. They were asking the same questions over and over. And I thought, either these people haven't read what we sent them, or they're trying to test us to see if we're going to trip up on these questions. It was amazing.
Like interrogation tactics.
My lawyer's like, this is a mistake at most. At most. We are not, we have all the up-to-date stuff. This is 2008, okay? So, we were talking about the time they're talking about. This is 2010 when we're in front of them. So anyway, when I flew back from D.C., I write in the book, I was a very changed person. That was a very big pivotal moment where I was like, okay, I'm on my own. My lawyers aren't going to do this like I can investigate what's going on, nor am I going to pay them to do it. And I'm on my own, period. Welcome to being a small business person. And so I started doing homework. And long story short, you always find what you need the last place you look. So I'm embarrassed it took as long as it did. But by August of 2010, I had discovered that actually Tyversa wasn't the beginning. Tyversa was the middle. And that Homeland Security had given $24 million to Dartmouth, and Dartmouth had decided to work with Tyversa on a cybersecurity project in 2006. And part of that project is when they went out, and they like to use the word monitor, and they even put out a press release. This is so crazy. They put out a press release saying that they had found 13 million plus files on 4,500 workstations worldwide. And one of them was Obama's Marine One plans and all these government secrets. And I went, holy cow. And then as I read this press release, I see they mention my file. They don't mention my company name, but they say laboratory. And I had the creepiest feeling. And then I find out that they've been in front of Congress and that they've talked in front of oversight. And I read a 2007 hearing that has Mr. Bobick from Tyversa there, Dartmouth there, the Federal Trade Commission sitting there, and Wesley Clark, General Wesley Clark, who turns out is on their advisory board. And then I find out that Howard Schmidt, who's Obama's cybersecurity chief at the time, in 2010, he wasn't back in 2007, obviously, is also on their advisory board. And I'm like, holy cow, no wonder there's this, we're giving this the feds, ring, ring, here's the FTC. What is going on? So this was very disturbing and created a lot of suspicion. And I found other hearings in 2009, and bottom line is I felt somehow these people all tied together. And I thought I'd cracked the case, but my lawyers had said, probably doesn't matter, the FTC is not going to care. You know, they're not going to care. And so it's just, they're going to care that it got out. And I just refused to accept that it got out. I just refused, other than them, getting it the way they did. I just refused until I had proof that we had done something wrong. I wasn't just going to roll over. And evidently that mentality is somewhat unusual. So a lot of people just roll over, and I've rolled over for things when I think I'm getting a raw deal for the sake of the company. Mm-hmm. But this is a cancer detection center where we felt we had not compromised our patient data, where we knew it wasn't out, where we haven't had any complaints or any evidence of damages. And for us to be required to admit something we didn't do was reputation assassination, and I felt it was an intimidation tactic. And I think at that point is when I was like, you know what, I'm not going to live with that taint and let them just crush a small business so they can move on and with another notch on their belt. Mm-hmm. So it just the tension kept escalating.
I bet. I think about last week's guest, Larry Winget. He just wrote a new book called Grow a Pair. And and he says the same thing, that people just roll over. They don't stand up for things, for what they believe in. They don't stand up for what's right and stand against what's wrong. So I champion your decision to fight. So where has this led you now with having to stand up for yourself? Because obviously you don't want to assassinate your company's reputation by admitting to something you didn't do. It's hard enough to admit about something we did do.
Well, the media did start cracking this in 2012, and I have known most of my clients for years and years and years and years, and they know me. And that's the other great thing about small business is our relationships with our people. And as I think where it's negatively impacted would be in the growth and the attention of the company. It has sucked out all my energy to what our plans were. We planned on getting to molecular testing and getting to breast cancer testing, and we haven't been able to do anything. It has just sucked the resources out and kept us stagnant. And for the first time ever, we've lost money this year. But I'm not sorry. We don't have a choice because what they want is they don't want to go to court. They want me to sign a consent decree. And these consent decrees are Pandora's box of implying you did something wrong. So they wanted me to sign an agreement that they could audit me biannually by an outside company for 2 decades. Wow. And should they find something wrong, then they could fine me and take action. That's insanity.
Yeah, but you haven't been formally charged with anything, have you?
And they have no standards. They have no standards. And they say they don't need to have standards. So this whole thing has gotten to be bigger than just me. This thing started getting to be, look, we have this government agency created by the Congress that are allowed to just walk all over you. And they're so intimidating, corporations do. I was put in a lose-lose situation. So I'm not criticizing per se people that do make those decisions because everything's different. But I will tell you, once you stand up, if I don't get support from other people for what I'm choosing to do, that will be a problem because they want to slap down those that stand up. Whether they're right or wrong doesn't matter. They want to slap down those that stand up so that those in the future that think about standing up will think twice about standing up. So the higher the profile, the more important my success is. And it transcends just being about me and my company. It really is about us, small business, freedom, actually, and the centralization of power within government agencies. It is just shocking.
So what about the other companies that Dartmouth discovered on this list of all of these files? Did any of those get chased after?
I don't know, because, that was Homeland Security study. Dartmouth was working with them. I don't know, because, those are, when there's government investigations, they're allowed to keep things quiet. I never know what they're doing. I'm the last one that's going to know until they take action and make something public. And I don't know that the other consent decrees that the FTC got in data security, they have about 40 now. I don't know how many of them came from this per se. I do believe that almost all of them actually have files that really got out there. And, we're still trying to find that out. But I also know that Wyndham's in court with the Federal Trade Commission, because you're supposed to have laws and boundaries and rules before you can enforce something, because we as business people especially certainly don't want to do things wrong. We have insurance carriers and fiduciary duties and shareholders and all sorts of things that we are obligated to. So we need to know where the lines are. And they don't have any lines. What they have is a rearview mirror and centralized power. And that is a problem.
It's like the lines are drawn in chalk for hopscotch.
Well, it's very Kafkaesque, as they say, because, they're trying, the game isn't let's get to court. The game is let's drain you dry. And it's a really, I just got thrown in the middle of this by fate, I think. But it's very disturbing to me that they'll do this. I say put my head on a spike. When we diagnose cancer, I don't know what kind of boundaries they have, but there's not a lot. it's pretty amazing.
It seems interesting that they're crucifying a company. They're crucifying a company that clearly is trying to do something good in this world.
Right.
And that doesn't make sense. It's not like, I'm thinking of how they went after Hank Rearden in Atlas Shrugged, because he just wanted to make money and spread it all around and all of that stuff. But it doesn't seem like it has any purpose. It's like it's a con man without an end game. What's the goal?
I don't know. I can assume the goal is they are very single-focused and very lopsided in their self-congratulatory belief that they're protecting the consumer. Mm-hmm. But this doesn't have anything to do with effectiveness. You want to protect people, you have to have laws. We're a land of rules and regulations, and what has morphed out of this experience is my mission to educate people. And so this book is really edutainment. It's not just a dry book. I tell them a story, and you can make whatever you want. But I want people to understand that Congress has created administrative agencies that they have allowed. This is the shocking part. They've allowed them to make their own rules. They've allowed them to police themselves. They've allowed them to choose administrative courts if they go to court, where they get to choose if they're going to listen to or reject the ruling or not. So by the time you get to true judicial process, who knows if there's any more blood left in the animal? And that is insane. And there's this fundamental example of this. That's my bigger mission now, is to let the public know, the people outside of D.C., to know this is what they've created. And they're going to come at me pretty hard, because they don't want the masses to understand this. Mm-hmm. They just want to have another notch on the belt and have another great, what I call, press release justice, that they've done something positive. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to lift the hood and pull back the curtains here and say, this message is not only counterproductive, it makes us more unsafe. It endangers the public, because their energy and resources are going toward a situation like this when Snowden walked out with a thumb drive. Mm-hmm. And it's gotten into some sort of, power battle here. Mm-hmm. And I'm fine with that.
So what are readers going to get out of this book? In addition to being able to go on your wild story as a ride.
I think if you like thrillers, I wrote it to be a thriller, and especially if you love fiction thrillers, you'll love it because it's not dry and it's chock full of examples. I don't talk about my conversations; I show them, especially with the lawyers and the government. The letters are all in there. I mean, there's humor. Like, one of my favorite parts is that the Federal Trade Commission put in writing that they would prefer we use Federal Express because of the security requirements. If we use the postal office, slows things down.
That's classic.
That's so classic.
That's classic. They don't even trust their own agency to deliver mail in a secure fashion.
I know, exactly. I mean, and they were so annoyed when we sent something, they couldn't find it, and they were so annoyed. And I'm like, here you go. And they put it in writing. I don't have to tell you. It's right there. I just cut and paste right in the book. That's just amazing. And the shock is, they're fine with that. The shock isn't even that's there. The shock is they don't see the problem. So there's the shock.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to get, I've gotten really positive reviews about how it's a page turner. It's not boring. It is shocking in that sense. I try to make it edutainment. I try not to be on a soapbox. But I will tell you that I am on a mission. I'll read you my dedication real quick.
Good, because I didn't get that far when my husband took your book.
I love that. This book is dedicated to all the small businessmen and women around the world, from the independent contractor, telecommuter, small medical practice, independent bookseller, part-time mother working during school hours, technology business that builds the magic of tomorrow, to the student working part-time as she puts herself through school, artists creating their masterpieces, housekeepers making their children's lives better than their own, and former corporate players who chucked it all for a small piece of paradise that they can call their own. You are my strength and safety. You are not alone. You are the backbone of the world's economy.
That's awesome. And I know that all my friends that are small business owners, we're all behind you, and we're here to give you the strength and support you need, because this is wrong and what's happened to you. And if it was a simple mistake, why couldn't you say, oops, sorry, and move on? So it's ridiculous that you've been singled out and persecuted. If folks want to get a hold of the book, where do they go?
The Devil Inside The Beltway.com is probably the fastest thing to remember. The Devil Inside The Beltway.com. It's available, at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, your indie bookseller. I'm pro small business. I'm like indie, go indie bookseller. Take care of those people. They're also part of us. It's an ebook and hardcover and paperback. So, and please, spread the word, and if you love it, let me know and let other people know. I think it's important. I mean, there's safety in numbers here right now.
Well, it is a page turner. My husband won't let it go because he doesn't want me folding a page back for my spot in the book, so we can't read it together. So I'm excited. So folks can go get a copy of your book. And thanks so much for being a part of the show. Best of luck with your continued struggles and fighting the good fight. And you stay right there, because we have more Unlock Your Wealth Radio with Heather Wagenhals coming up right after this.
Commander Marty Logan here from the Top Gun Seminars. What I've learned over the years is that the most successful people in life have coaches to guide them along their chosen path. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, Tony Stewart, Tom Hopkins, Kathy Colby all had coaches. Whether it was their father, someone else's father, or another person who helped them to shape their desires into an achievable path to success with a system of accountability where quitting was the only way to fail. Each of these people had someone who didn't see them as they first were, but as the person inside they knew they could easily become. Financial coaching can be the single addition you need to become financially independent. Call the Unlock Your Wealth Foundation now for your free consultation. 1-866-966-9420. That toll-free number again is 1-866-966-9420. Or visit us on the web at www.unlockyourwealth.com.
I'm Heather Wagenhals. Too much month left over at the end of the money? Tired of paying off debt again like a slave? Then tune in to my 1-minute update on Fort Myers Beach Radio for your morning cup of money motivation. And for more tips, visit crackingyourmoneycode.com.
Looking to take your game to the next level? Maybe you're restless and not sure what to do next in your life? If networking to elevate yourself, looking for inspiration, or being somewhere in between relaxing and making it happen, Then the Women of Change Cruise, January 23rd to 28th, is for you. Join a team of elite women who will take your game to the next level or help you find your game while surrounding yourself with welcoming, accepting women who will affirm, motivate, and inspire you to live your best life starting now. Space is limited. Surf over now and be a part of women just like you who refuse to settle for less and are looking to get more out of this lifetime.
The Women of Change phenomenon. Leave your own mark on the world.
For more information about the Women of Change cruise and upcoming events, please visit our website at womenofchange.org.
Greenback is your neighborhood lender for auto title loans. We offer fast and easy cash title loans for cars, trucks, and motorcycles. Keep your car with title loans from $100 to $50,000. There are no year or mileage limits at Greenback, and we offer the cheapest rates in Arizona, guaranteed. For more information, visit greenbacktitleloans.com or call 480-926-6666.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. You are listening to Unlock Your Wealth Radio, and I am she, your purveyor of prosperity, your maven of moolah, your chick with the it factor for your wallet. And it is now our favorite time of the show. It's the Keys to Riches. So thanks so much for stopping by. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome to the broadcast. The Keys to Riches is a baker's dozen of financial concepts that teach you how to think like the rich and be in control of your own money. It also gives you specific techniques to create or fix your credit, eliminate debt. Isn't that a great thought? Save and invest, building wealth while transforming your current financial habits into healthy money management skills. And we do that one key at a time, 1 week at a time. And we have Unlock Your Wealth radio protege, Lauren Rumpler, who is actively pursuing our Keys to Riches in our coaching program. And we are going to skip an update with her this week because she is in studio herself cutting her new album. And so we're all excited about that. So we will get an update from her and how she's working through the keys next week on next week's show. So we can move right into this week's key. So last week we did acceptance and affirmation. So we finally came to terms with either we don't know what we're doing about money because we're brand new, like Lauren. So she's just jumping into the real world. And she shared some of her experiences about not really having an opportunity to manage money herself and not really having a job until she was 18, that sort of thing. And now we're going from accepting and affirming our wealth because, again, if we haven't done well, if we are starting out or starting over, we've got a lot of negative conditioning to get out of our heads. And so we're going to replace that through repeated exposure with our affirmation process. And I can't talk more about it because it has to do with this week's trivia question. Otherwise, I would. But then that would be helping you cheat to win. So I only have so many books from this week's author. So moving right along, we're going to talk about this week's key, which is take action, make assessment. And we're going green, if you will. And we're going to do an organic assessment. And there's a reason why we do an organic assessment with our keys to riches versus what most people typically do. They say, grab all your stuff. Grab all your bank statements, grab all your receipts, and let's start adding things up and blah, blah, blah. And then let's create a budget. Okay, well, we don't even do budgets here. We break budgets, and we do that for a really good reason. And you're going to learn coming up why we do that. But for our take action, make assessment, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to organically assess what we're doing with our money. And this is different than most people because most people are like, how much goes where? And that's what they worry about. But we're going to learn something different in this organic assessment because it's going to take 6 weeks for this to happen. And over the next 6 weeks, until we get to our break the budget key, we're actually not going to do very much when it comes to our money. Because right now we're going to be retraining our thought processes over the coming weeks about what it is with money management. And let me tell you why we're doing this assessment this way. What you'll be doing simply is you need to grab a manila envelope, like a 9x12, and maybe have a few handy depending on how big your family is and how many people spend money in your family. And what we're going to do is we're going to save every receipt for everything. We're not going to look at it. We're going to avoid categorizing it. We're going to avoid writing anything down. All we're going to do is take the receipt and we're going to pick it up and then we're going to slip it into this envelope. And then we're going to forget we did that. That's all we're going to do. We're going to take the receipt, pick it up, put it in the envelope. Now, if you have electronic purchases, you're going to need to put your bank statements in there. If you're like the queen of swipe, like I am, and I carry very little cash now. So I always have everything itemized. That's the beauty of being the queen of swipe is I pull out my credit card statement and everything is right there and I can slurp it into my money management program and then I can tell everybody what this expense was, what that expense was. So when it comes time for the tax man, I'm good to go. But we're not going to be doing any of that just yet. All we're going to be doing is saving our receipts. So if you are the queen or king of swipe, make sure that you have all of your credit cards and any bank statements that you have that track money. If you spend cash and are not issued a receipt, ask for one. And if they don't issue you one, like most vending machines do not issue receipts, then you need to create one. And it can be simply taking a piece of paper and writing on there the date, what you bought with it, and to whom you bought it from. And if you want to write a little bit more detailed in the amount of what it was that you spent at that particular merchant. This also includes the paper boy. This also includes your kids. If you pay allowances, things like that, you have to shove all of that stuff in this envelope. And again, we're just shoving and we're avoiding looking at anything. The reason why we're doing that is we're looking for something different than most money managers and personal finance experts look for. And I'll tell you briefly, and then you have to commit to forgetting it so we don't influence our spending. But what we're going to do is we are observing when things happen with our money, and then we can figure out the why so we can figure how to plan for our future. So it's not about what or how much, it's when and why. And I'm not going to allude any further because that's what you need to know. The value is so much different than the way other personal finance experts coach you, and they want to look at what and how much. So it's a completely different mindset, and I'll explain when we get to break the budget why we do it this way. So the key is just take your receipts and shove them in this envelope, and that's your only charge. And I'll tell you this, and you want to forget it after I say this, because we don't want your reticular activating system, this part of the brain that puts things up on the radar. You know, it's like you never noticed how many people had a Honda Civic until you bought one. And then all of a sudden you saw every Honda Civic out there. It's because it gets onto this part of your brain called the reticular activating system. So I'm going to tell you why you're doing this, and then you're going to forget it. And the reason why we're doing this is because we spend differently at the beginning of the month versus the end of the month, and the beginning of the paycheck versus the end of the paycheck. And so this is where our hiccups occur in our money management. And so you're going to forget what I just said, but know that this is why we do our money management stuff differently. So forget what I said about the reason behind what we're doing, and just focus on stuffing your receipts in your envelopes for the next 6 weeks, because we need a large enough time to track, and we want to see how we really spend and how we really go about life and do things, because that will give us more insight to creating a healthy savings and spending plan, which is what we do in our 7th key. So I am so excited. That is this week's key. So again, take action, make assessment. This is your first step toward financial freedom. So for this week's key statement, key affirmation, and key action item, visit our website at unlockyourwealthradio.com and click on the This Week's Key tab for more insight and information on how to deploy this for yourself successfully. And for more in-depth interviews with money experts, strategies, and members-only tools to fix your credit, get out of debt, and have more money and happiness, do what other savvy listeners have and visit unlockyourwealthradio.com, where you go to get your money mind right so your wealth and happiness will follow. Become an Insiders Club member today at unlockyourwealthradio.com. And for Unlock Your Wealth Radio, I'm Heather Wagenhals. Now go out and unlock your wealth today.
UnlockYourWealthRadio.com is produced by Heather Wagenhals and the Unlock Your Wealth Foundation. UnlockYourWealthRadio.com and its affiliates are copyrighted 2013 with all rights reserved. For more information on the Keys to Riches Financial Wellness Series, please visit our website at www.unlockyourwealth.com.